open, and it'll add about 1.5 miles to the trail.
I was there last week.
Yeah, did you walk on the part that said keep out?
No.
Good job. One of the few.
Absolutely not.
So it's supposed to be done by the end of the month. And the 5K run, anybody that wants to come out and support the trail for finishing up this project, we've got to do benches and signage and thing changes. Any extra funds that are left, we'll hold on to, and we will use them for the next phase of the expansion project. But the 5K is at 8 o'clock on the 25th, and it'll be at the trail. So anybody that wants to come out and support the project, we'd love to have you. You can walk if you don't want to run, it's not a problem. And our thanks to Kevin, because he's been working really hard out there. The design review revisions that you requested, staff has started working on that. As you know, when we look at a change in the ordinance, we like to take a look at the whole ordinance and that whole section and come back with our recommended changes so that we do it once and maybe do it right. So we're working on that. So what you requested we'll be bringing forward, but we're going to also recommend some other changes to that section at the same time. The marijuana ordinance, the council is currently going to have their second reading on the 16th of an ordinance for legalize for the recreational marijuana. And so if they approve it and adopt it, there'll be parts of that, the new ordinance that will have to be drafted that are going to affect Title 17, which is the zoning ordinance. So they'll be working with staff, but that will be coming forward to you guys maybe as early as March. So we'll see. We'll see how fast, and maybe even, I don't think they're going to make it for February, but probably March is what I'm anticipating. So we'll see what comes forward. Staff hasn't seen anything yet from the attorney yet to review before you guys have it. And then the other thing is the Energy Action Plan. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a kind of a workshop that they held during the Planning Commission meeting in front of you guys to talk about the Energy Action Plan for the city. That has been completed. Staff has reviewed it. Paul and I had a 2-hour phone conversation with them last week. They're going to make revisions to it. And then that's going to come back, but it's going to go directly to the council. So I will make sure you guys know when it's going to be in front of the council so that if you want to hear the outcome and what came out of that process, you guys can come and sit in on the meeting of the city council. It only has to have one approval, and it's just their approval. So we'll take it directly back to the council. So those are the updates, and we definitely will have a March meeting. That would be the, we've been keeping you guys pretty steady on these meetings, so we have items that will be coming forward for the March meeting. And that's my
But not one in February?
I mean, and February as well, sorry.
Okay.
This is the deal, I'm working on March already, so I've totally skipped over February. I have so many things that are due in March that we've been really working hard on. Yeah, so we'll have a February meeting, and we definitely will have a March meeting as well.
Great.
So,
Thanks, Rochelle.
no problem.
Now we'll move on to design review. Item number 1, an application by Rob Westerhoff for Michael Scherer for a design review permit to enclose a porch on the east side of the building located at 800 Del Nero Drive in a C planned community, in a C planned development PD zone. Assessor parcel number 044170016. Paul?
Thank you. As you'll recall, this one was on your agenda last time, and we talked through it pretty thoroughly, but the applicant was not present. There is a representative here tonight to answer any questions that the Planning Commission has of them. Just for the public's sake, who might not have been here at the last meeting, I'll do a brief review of it, and then I'd be happy to answer any additional questions if anybody have anything else they wanted to talk about. The project before you is to enclose the porch on the east side of the building. Right now it's a covered porch, and they want to enclose that area and make it part of the office space for the building. There will be no access from that area. Right now it's a railed-in porch, and the access doesn't go anywhere except for onto the porch itself. Elevations are in your packet and include the addition area having the same building materials and the same color as the rest of the building currently does. We, excuse me, at a staff level, recommended approval of this. There was a CEQA exemption that applies to small structures and including areas within an existing structure. So we did not recommend any additional conditions on it other than it meets the building codes and the design review that's included in the packet. So be happy to answer any questions or if you have any of the applicants.
One question about, I know that area is pretty congested for parking. What about the increase, because this is now going to be, I understand, a dental office, about parking area for the patrons or the patients?
Design review does not affect the parking in the area. There's no changes to it. The whole PD portion of this was for medical/dental offices, so the parking load for those uses were addressed at the initial approval of the project back then, and design review does not give us an opportunity to trigger anything else.
Any other questions of staff?
Nope.
Very good. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Is there anything you'd like to add to this, sir?
No, sounds like a slam dunk to me.
Thank you very much for your input. Is there anybody else that would like to comment before we go to public hearing? Well, we just go, this doesn't
It's not
require
a
a public
public
hearing.
hearing,
just
Okay,
public comment.
well, we'll just go on ahead and take it back to the commission now.
I'm going to move that we approve it because we've already gone through it last month and pretty well went over the high lines and the low lines, so I would like to move to approve this based on the necessities that need to be considered.
There's 4
Conditions for approval, and those items need to be included in order for this to be acceptable.
I'll second it.
Motion by John Richardson, second by Ron Jensen. Any other discussion? Not? All those to approve?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry I missed the last meeting.
I didn't make it either.
Okay.
All right, second item, application by Stephen Dietrich for a design review permit to remove windows and replace with a roll-up door on the rear of the building located at 74 to 76 South Washington Street in a C commercial zone. The assessor parcel number 001194007. Paul?
Thank you. Yes, this application is for the renovation to the exterior of that building. As you'll recall, you had another design review for this location concerning the dumpster enclosure that they did over there. So the applicant's been working on renovations and upgrades, trying to make the space work better. And so the project before you tonight is to replace the 6-foot by 4-foot windows with a 6 by almost 7-foot, 6.9 foot metal roll-up door at the rear of the building. They use this area for unloading and for the restaurant that is located there, and so they're wanting to make that an easier transition, hopefully quicker. As you know, that street along there is pretty small, and having vehicles unloading and loading over there has an impact on traffic. So with a larger space and easier transition into the building, hopefully that would address some of that. The packet has pictures of what it currently looks like, as well as a hand drawing of the change. As you can see, it's basically the size of the windows in width, and then extended down to the ground would be replaced with the metal door. This building is a brick building. The historical value of it has been compromised over time, so it's not like one of our other buildings in town that we look at the building materials blending so much. Also with this one, as you'll recall, there's a parking lot actually on the site behind the building that offsets it from the street. So the view shed of this area, as you're going by, unless you were directly across from it, you don't really see it because the other buildings are blocking it until you get right up on it almost. And then in addition, there are cars parked there most times within that area, so it also continues to block the view of the building. So based on all of that, staff is recommending approval of it. We sent it out for our advisory agencies, and the only comments that we had back came from the police department and fire department commenting on the loading and the fact that that road is a small road back there. So in a way with this roll-up door, hopefully it will address some of that congestion by making it a quicker transition. Other than that, we had no comments on aesthetics or building materials or colors or anything like that from anybody. And this project also falls under a CEQA exemption from minor changes to commercial structures. So in the conditions of approval and the findings for the project, we only had 3 conditions of approval and the 4 regular findings. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has about that as well.
Oh, would you consider the fire and police department's comments on that, kind of an endorsement of doing this because of the limited space back there?
Yes, they really didn't say yay or nay about it. They were just making sure that we had, the concern that don't make more parking back there kind of thing or whatever. And the parking area that is approved, those spaces are already needed for the building itself. As you know, there's not really parking in the downtown area. So we did discuss with the fire chief that if we tried to sign it for only loading and unloading within an area, then you would be taking the actual parking that's used regularly, and then those cars would probably be causing more congestion. So with the quicker transition, we're hoping that that may address those on some small amount.
I agree.
Any other questions of staff?
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious, in the picture here, it shows something below the window. I can't really tell what it is. I drove by and I couldn't see either. Hopefully nothing important like a
No, it was just...
propane tank or something like that.
No, the propane tanks are to the side, and they do have the bollards. I think that was just storage.
Other than that, I could see where to make it easier for these restaurant suppliers to drive their larger cart through that door and save time in the process. But you mentioned in here in recommendation 3, it says a roll-up door to confirm with features typical of the period. I mean, was there a change in the way roll-up doors look from whenever the period is to now that I'm aware of?
No,
Okay.
not really.
All right.
The idea is that the brick and the metal would be appropriate.
Okay.
So we're not looking for, in other areas, we've looked for architectural features to be added to the roll-up doors. We're not looking for that in this. It'd be something that's pretty standardized.
Okay, I thought it was just in there to conform with the historical whatever.
There's not much historical.
Okay, that's all I have. In fact, I moved to approve.
Let me hear from the applicant first, if there's somebody here that represents them. The applicant here? Is there anything you'd like to add to this, sir?
No,
All right.
sounds good.
Oh, one question on the propane tanks. There's 2 lines drawing and seem to be going nowhere or somewhere. Is there any reason for that, other than they're just gonna stay there, or?
The propane tanks will stay there, and the lines you're referring to are the arrow lines, saying that there's 2 propane tanks. Those aren't, they're just pointing to it.
Okay.
And there are bollards there in front of those tanks to protect them from the vehicles, and they're already in place.
Yeah, I see those.
Even though there's still a public hearing, a formal public hearing, is there anybody else in the public who'd like to comment on this? If not, great, we'll move on, bring it back to the commission. Gentlemen. Carrie, you want to resurrect that motion?
Okay, if nobody else has any comments or, sure, recommend approval of the 4 recommendations and 3 conditions.
I'll second. Kevin, second. Carrie made the motion, Kevin, second. Any other discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you very much. Gentlemen, I'm going to turn this meeting over to Mr. Anderson, or Richardson, because I have to recuse myself from this next event.
Okay, you can go on the table.
I'll probably just take off. I'll let you know at the meeting.
See you next month.
All right. Not sooner.
Make sure you put that in there if you took off.
Just let us know.
Hey, what'd you get?
I don't know. I'll let you know.
It's a box of
Your
chocolates.
Carl Farm is delicious,
Oh, good.
by the way.
We're still got some too.
Okay.
I'll wait till you get out the door and then I'll start.
See you, Chris.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you.
Come watch a football game.
All right. Oh, is that on?
Oh, yeah, great. That's why I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it, John.
Okay. Let me get my agenda. Application by Front Porch Communication for a design review permit for exterior changes to the existing building, including adding a pergola at the front door area, replacement of the railing, remove the stucco trim and replace with a new top coat, and shade screening details to the second floor of the building, located at 905 Mona Way in the C Commercial Zone ACN 056-180-032. Paula.
Thank you. This is in a commercial district, and so the design review is required. As you just read through on the agenda, they are requesting to change the exterior elevations. There are treatments currently on the building that they propose to remove and to replace with other treatments to fit more with their design of their building and their look. The colors that they're proposing are charcoal and then muted gray and green and blue, kind of all still within that earth tone palette. And the only thing to bring to note in particular is that the elevation that faces the Timber Hills Shopping Center, it does have a retaining wall back there and you really don't ever see it. So there are not any treatments being proposed along that elevation, but there's really not a view shed to see those. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then from, let's see, the figure 1 shows the existing features with the stucco, and you'll see the trim is a lighter color and the building was a darker color, and it was much more decorative with kind of the radiant look and things like that at that time. The proposed elevations, there's a number of them in the packet. They spread out through a couple of pages, but you'll see that it's a much more utilitarian type of look to it. It's clean lines versus the stucco treatments that are currently there. And then it also has the metal mixed in with it and the railing and things like that. Based on the location of this building, it is in a commercial area that has a lot of different types of commercial buildings there. Just across the street from this location is the new medical center that does have some of the similar line work in it as well. So we do feel like it'll fit the area. You'll notice on page 4, you can see there will be a screening. There's some mechanical equipment that will be out along Mono Way, and they will be screening that as well. And they are proposing some new vegetation to the area, which brings up a condition of approval that we are adding, that the fire department wanted to make sure was on there, because until they actually get out there and work through all the details, that may be an issue. There are solar panels on the roof of the building, which is a good thing, but it does limit where the fire department can access that if they need to get up on the second story. So with regard to where new trees are being planted, they just want to coordinate that with the applicant to make sure that the ladder truck will have access in an area that they don't have to worry about the solar panels as they go up. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Yes.
The screening you're talking about, is that on page 4 on the left side? Looks like a redwood fence or something.
Yes, yes. And as you'll see behind it, they didn't show the buildings of Timberlake Shopping Center, but there is that retaining wall, and then above that retaining wall will be the buildings of the other building.
So there's a generator proposed for that?
In that front area.
Okay.
So are you saying that the solar panels are hindering the fire department's
Well, yes,
access?
it limits where they will go up, because
But they're okay with it?
they're fine with it. It's just if they're planting trees that are going to further limit where they can access the building, it may just be a discussion of the type of tree, so it doesn't grow up a certain area, or that it's going to be trimmed so that the ladder will go, you know, if there's a tree here, the ladder's still going to make it over it. Kind of stuff.
Okay, is there anyone from the applicant here who would like to comment?
Good evening, my name is Bob Hahn. I'm the President and Chief Financial Officer of Front Porch. Just thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about who we are, if you're interested. We are a technology company. There is about 40 of us, about 30 of whom actually will be working in the new building. We're very excited to move into the city. That will be, we hope to be in there by February. So that's our hope. I'd also like to acknowledge several of our stakeholders here: Jason, Abe, Bodie, Jake, Kenan, and Ned. They're all here, just showing support. So we're really excited about the prospect of moving into town. I think it'll be a beautiful building, both inside and out. Unless you have any questions of me, I'd like to turn it over to Ruben, who actually knows things.
What are you offering with your facility there? Maybe we'd like to know exactly what you do.
Sure. We don't really, we're a technology company, so we do two things, namely, we have two basic lines of business. One of them is we work with large internet service providers, the likes of Comcast, Cablevision, Cox, et cetera, to provide, just make it short, to provide tools to allow them to communicate to their customers better. And we've been doing that for years. And by the way, we will be celebrating our 20th anniversary in October of 2018. The other line of business that we recently acquired, which is very interesting to all of us, is education. And we purchased a company called Get More Math, that the idea of which is to enable, it's a tool that math teachers use to enable them to teach their kids math more efficiently and effectively. As I'm sure I don't need to tell you, that's a real challenge these days, not just in math, but other subjects as well. So our building will not be a storefront in as much as, you know, people will walk in and buy things, for example. But as it relates to the interior of the building, we've been very careful to identify on the ground floor some sort of open spaces, public spaces that we could rent out or let other folks use, because we have conference rooms down there, bathrooms and the like. So we're trying to make it a building that will be useful for the entire city and the county.
Sounds great.
Some years ago, I got a tour through there when in your East Sonora operation. I was very impressed with what you did in there. And the reason I asked about having a generator there, it occurred to me you have a pretty good energy draw when you lose power. So I was concerned initially about noise, and then I thought, well, blown away, I mean, how could you be liable
Yeah.
to that, so.
Yeah, we have it, you drive by there, with the generator's there. I mean,
Oh, it is?
yeah, it's huge, it's right
And
up on.
sufficient for your.
Yeah, we made sure we sized it accordingly. It is a diesel generator as opposed to the one that was up in East Sonora that was a propane generator. But yeah, my office has a very great view of the generator as I look out my window. So, but it's a big elevator. And as was alluded to earlier, we will be screening that off from on.
Might I request that maybe you offer a tour to the commission and the council? And
Absolutely.
after you're set, you know, and
With that, we will
so
make
they
sure
know
that we do
what
that.
you do there?
Make sure we do that.
That'd be
It's
great.
quite, it's very cool, even though the inside is not quite finished, it still is.
Understand.
We're able to really see some good progress. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful facility.
Well, it's a beautiful building, very impressive.
Yeah. Great to have someone else in there.
Oh, yeah, it really is. So if there are no more questions, I'll just introduce Mr. Ruben Churnside.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commission. Ruben Chonside from Land and Structure. We've been providing design and engineering services for this project. Based on Bob's introduction, I think it was good for you guys to understand a little bit more about the company. They've been in this community for a long time, but they do kind of operate in the background. They're not really a storefront or anything in the community, but they have a very solid business that employs quite a few people for this county and in well-paying jobs. So it's valuable to have that coming to the city. Our challenge has been to efficiently transform this existing building into a home for a high-tech business that wishes to embrace its home in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas. The facelift will include removing the existing stucco trim, repairing and recoating the exterior, adding horizontal louvered screens, updating the colors, and modifying the landscaping. The colors of the building will be in a neutral earth tone range that will subtly reflect the corporate colors of green and blue. Trim and awnings will be in a charcoal color. The proposed pergola and railing will likely be a steel structure that will be powder coated in a mixture of silver and wood tones. It's kind of a sandwich situation, and there'll be stainless steel cable railing along the top of the retaining wall adjacent to the parking lot of Rite Aid. The overall result of this remodel aims to provide an exterior that represents the home of a well-founded and solid local company. The clean and contemporary style will reflect the high-tech nature of this business, while the earth tone colors and materials link the building to its regional location. In conclusion, it's encouraging to see a local company investing in our community and the improvement of our built environment. Do you have any questions?
The new windows you're putting in, they look like they're like one way or screened where you really can't see from the outside in. Is that the case, or?
We've worked with the existing window openings. They have an arched top at the moment, which we plan to cover with the metal screen, and there'll be a small overhang as part of those screenings to provide some shade, just because that face of the building is directly west. And there may be some interior shades on those windows also, but I don't think there's no new windows going in the building. And also the trees that are shown on that from a landscape perspective are actually existing trees. There's no new trees planned to be planted as part of the landscape.
I have a question on looking at the old building, knowing that there's a parking area around it that goes close to Rite Aid and then around the back. With the trees and the foliage that's being brought up there, I'm assuming there's still plenty of parking in there that's been considered. It looks like the trees are taking over the parking area as I'm looking, and I'm sure it's not the case.
No, there's no net loss of parking.
There's no loss of parking areas. It's just the way the picture looks here.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a statement. I think you did a nice job on this design, Ruben.
Thank you.
Real nice. This other building, at first when I looked at it, I thought, is that in Sonora? I couldn't place it for a minute, and then I drove by and I said, oh, that is in Sonora. It's like,
Kind of sandwiched in
good
there.
job.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to comment or come forth? Anyone else in the corporation or the organization? Do we have anyone else who would like to talk or have any questions? Okay, then we'll bring it back to the commission. Gentlemen,
I'd like to make the motion for approval. I think it's a great design, and it's good to see a local business moving into the city.
do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been noted to approve, and it's been seconded by Mr. Jensen. And I think we call for the vote. Everybody's set. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there anyone opposed? Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Looks to be a very, very beautiful building. Looks great for Sonora. It's a great start going in that direction. I think it's great you're doing it, and it's really very well done. As Mr. Jensen said, the building is really special. So, congratulations. Okay,
You can go ahead and adjourn the meeting. That is the
you want
last
to adjourn it
item.
now?
That's it. You're done.
Anything else? Okay, then we'll adjourn the meeting.